Today we enter a fascinating land, a topic that arouses great interest but also causes discomfort. This reflection is aimed at those who are in a stage of life in which deep knowledge about our body and our sexuality is not only relevant, but is fundamental. That we will explore a popular myth that has endured throughout generations. Is there any connection between the size of a woman's buttocks and the characteristics of her vagina? At first glance, this belief may seem harmless, even trivial. However, behind it, cultural conceptions and stereotypes that deserve to be approached with respect and precision are hidden. In a society that often reduces the female body to superficial aspects, it is necessary to look beyond appearances and deal with this issue with a solid base that includes medical, psychological, and cultural foundations. It is essential to separate the facts from fictions, since this will help free women from wrong beliefs that affect their perception of themselves and their self-esteem. Questioning these stories allows us to break with the patterns imposed and move towards a more just and enriching understanding. Let's start by dismantling the myth. The size of the buttocks of a woman is the result of a fascinating combination of factors, such as genetics, body fat distribution, and the bone structure of the pelvis. These characteristics, although visible and striking, have no direct connection with the internal anatomy of the vagina. The vagina is an exceptional organ, designed to fulfill essential functions such as reproduction and to adapt to situations such as childbirth, demonstrating impressive elasticity and resistance. If we reflect on this, how extraordinary is the human body, especially the feminine. It is a living testimony of biological engineering that reflects the evolution and the ability to adapt our species. So where does this idea arise? For centuries, diverse cultures have related certain physical features, such as prominent buttocks, with fertility and good health. These associations, fed by the media and our own perceptions, have become a kind of cultural truth, which has very little to do with science. These ideas not only persist for constant repetition, but also because they are embedded in narratives that reinforce beauty standards and gender roles, which affect our way of thinking. From an early age. In reality, sexual satisfaction is not determined by any specific physical characteristic, but by a complex network of factors, including emotional health, communication with the couple, and self-esteem. Imagine how much could transform our way of living intimacy if we eliminate these myths. Here a key appearance comes in: the pelvic floor muscles. These muscles, which surround and support the vagina and other pelvic organs, play a fundamental role in sexual function through exercises such as Kegel. Any woman, regardless of the size of her buttocks, can strengthen these muscles, thus improving their well-being and sexual experience. Both physical health and a person's sexual experience benefit from an integral approach that invites us to transform the narrative, leaving myths behind and concentrating on what really matters: caring for and appreciating our body from the inside. In addition, strengthening this area not only favors sexual well-being, but also improves the quality of life in general, preventing conditions such as incontinence and contributing to a better global physical balance. Dedicating time to our internal well-being is, in essence, an investment in our trust and happiness. But we do not limit ourselves only to physical appearance. Psychology teaches us that the mind is one of the most powerful sexual organs. The way in which we perceive ourselves significantly influences our intimacy experience. A woman who feels safe and satisfied with her body is much more likely to experience a full and enriching sex life. The key is not to meet superficial standards, but in promoting self-love and acceptance. This process requires dedication and patience. But the benefits can be deeply transformers. How many times have we limited our pleasure or our trust trying to adjust to unreal expectations? That limitation disappears when we learn to value our authenticity and accept ourselves as we are. As we age, our body experiences transformations. What provided us with pleasure at age May 20th no longer do it at 50, and that's fine. Sexuality is a continuous journey of evolution, and adapting to these changes with curiosity, without judgments or external pressures, is fundamental. Listening to our body and finding new ways to enjoy intimacy is part of this adaptation process. Each wrinkle, each physical change, is a manifestation of lived life, evidence of past experiences, and therefore deserves to be celebrated. Society usually exalts youth as the only stage of sexual vitality, but this vision is far from being true. In fact, many people discover new dimensions of connection and pleasure in more advanced stages of their life, when open experience and communication play a central role. So, if there is something that we must learn from this speech, it is that the female body is an extraordinarily complex system and worthy of admiration. Reducing it to simplified myths is not only unfair, but also a loss of perspective about how great it is. Instead of focusing on superficial attributes, let's focus on what really matters: emotional connection, sincere communication, and mutual respect. Imagine a world in which each woman feels empowered to embrace her uniqueness. Without fear of judgment. The diversity of bodies, stories, and experiences is what enriches our humanity. Each stage of life offers new opportunities to learn, explore, and enjoy. Let's not let myths limit our perception of what it means to have a full sex life. Recall that the key to pleasure lies in self-love, curiosity, and courage to continue discovering. Allow you to question what they have believed so far and open to a new understanding, deeper and more enriching. It is never too late to rediscover and celebrate life in all its forms. Grade our perspectives and discover new sources of happiness and connection is an essential process for personal growth. If this message has touched any fiber in you, do not hesitate to share it with those who can find value in it. In addition, remember to subscribe to receive more content that honors learning, exploration, and freedom to completely enjoy each phase of life. Every moment, every experience is an opportunity to celebrate our individuality and take steps towards a richer, satisfying life and with a deeper purpose. After all, every day is a new opportunity to continue evolving and connect with what really matters. The true essence of fully enjoying life lies in our ability to accept changes and adapt to them with an open mind. As we advance in life, circumstances, roles, and above all our bodies experience transformations. Society often pushes us to follow certain standards of beauty, success, or youth. But what really matters is to learn to live in harmony with ourselves, without comparing ourselves with external ideals. The acceptance of our own evolution is key to cultivating robust mental and emotional health, which in turn positively impacts our relationship with the body and sexuality. When we learn to value what we are in the present, without clinging to what we were or what others expect from us, we reach a deeper level of well-being. In addition, the perception of sexuality and intimacy should not be based on what others dictate, but on what really satisfies us. The importance of communication, Mutual respect and emotional connection becomes a fundamental pillar through time experience. If you want to discover the best advice I could give you, stay until the end of the video. If you like this type of videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more videos like this. And self-knowledge. We can discover new ways of living intimacy, regardless of age or transformations we experience in our bodies. This vision, released from prejudices and comparisons, allows us to enjoy sexual and affective life authentically, without external pressures or erroneous expectations, taking care of our physical and emotional health, reinforcing both the body and the mind, is the true path to a full and satisfactory life. By releasing our minds from the expectations imposed by society, we begin to discover that true pleasure does not depend on a perfect body or fulfilling superficial beauty criteria, but on the genuine connection with ourselves and with others. Sexuality, like any other aspect of life, must be understood as a dynamic process that evolves with us. Instead of looking for an unattainable ideal, we can focus on exploring the different facets of our being and how they are reflected in our intimate relationships. Learning to listen to the needs of our body, both physical and emotional, is a powerful tool to achieve a more satisfactory and healthy sex life. This requires time and patience, but above all, it implies a commitment to ourselves with respect for our own rhythm and well-being. Aging, which is often perceived negatively due to cultural myths, is actually a phase rich in opportunities to redefine intimacy. Maturity gives us the possibility of exploring new forms of enjoyment, deeper and more conscious, away from the pressures of youth. It is important to recognize that each stage of life has its own values and wealth. The experience acquired over the years allows us to better understand what we want and need, which can lead to greater satisfaction in our relationships. In this sense, sexual and emotional pleasure becomes a natural extension of our personal growth and our ability to connect authentically. Accepting and hugging our body as it is, regardless of the standards of others, leads us to a personal freedom that is reflected in all aspects of our life, including intimacy. Through self-acceptance and self-love, we allow ourselves to enjoy life in a fuller way, without fear of judgment or criticism. It is not about achieving a specific type of beauty or desire, but about finding peace with our inner being and accepting our natural evolution. This freedom allows us to live our sexuality authentically without feeling pressured by what others expect from us. Ultimately, living fully and significantly depends on our ability to accept, evolve, and celebrate at each stage of life, always with the willingness to continue learning, exploring, and growing. By learning to live in tune with our body and our emotions, we discover a deep connection between our mental, physical, and sexual health. When we allow ourselves to release external expectations and comparisons with others, we can really focus our energy on what makes us feel good and what we need to prosper. Each experience, each interaction, is an opportunity to grow, either learning to communicate more openly with our partner, or learning to listen to the signs that our body sends us. This process of self-knowledge and self-definition is vital to cultivate a healthy sexual and emotional life, since it frees us from insecurities and false beliefs that we have often absorbed from young people. By advancing in life, we understand that emotional connection is as or more important than physics. Relations based on genuine intimacy empathy, and mutual respect are those that really nourish our sexual experience and our quality of life. The superficial expectations that society tells us about youth, the perfect body or the correct ways of loving, dissipate when we focus on what really matters. Authenticity, trust, and genuine desire to share our lives with another person. It is not about achieving unattainable perfection, but about enjoying the process of being and being present at the time, hugging every aspect of our individuality. The process of accepting our bodies, especially in advanced ages, is liberating. The transformations we experience over time should not be seen as a loss, but as a rich opportunity to discover new forms of pleasures, enjoy our privacy, and be more connected to ourselves and others. Each change, each mark of the passage of time, is a footprint of our personal history, and by recognizing it as such, we become more powerful and safe of our own worth. Instead of trying to deny or hide these changes, we can learn to celebrate them, seeing them as an essential part of our trip. It is vital to understand that sexuality is not limited to youth or a specific beauty model. Actually, maturity brings with it a deeper understanding of the desires and needs of our body and our mind. And this knowledge allows us to live in a faster and without fears. The most mature couples, for example, can enjoy intimacy based on greater communication and complicity, allowing them to experience new levels of emotional and physical connection. The idea that sexual vitality decreases with age is a myth that must be challenged. In fact, many people discover that experience and openness to novelty allow them to explore their sexuality in ways that they never imagined before. Self-love then becomes the basis of a full and satisfactory sex life. No matter the age or physical state of the body, what really matters is how we interact with ourselves and how we allow ourselves to enjoy the present without loads of the past or fears about the future. When we manage to accept and love ourselves as we are, regardless of the stereotypes that society can impose, we open the door to new ways of living sexuality, intimacy, and life in general. Ultimately, the key to true pleasure and satisfaction is in the ability to be at peace with oneself and embrace the experience of living fully. As we advance in life, we also learn to appreciate the importance of connection not only with our partner, but with ourselves. The relationship we have with our body and our mind is directly reflected in our interactions and intimate experiences. Self-esteem, that feeling of respect and love for oneself, becomes the cornerstone of our ability to enjoy sexual and emotional life. When we feel comfortable with ourselves, we are more willing to be vulnerable, to communicate our needs, and to explore new aspects of our sexuality with confidence. One of the most valuable lessons that we learn with age is that sex life is not determined by youth or physical appearance. The true connection is found in the deep and genuine emotional connection that we share with those around us, the relationships we cultivate over the years, based on respect, understanding, and emotional intimacy. Allow us.by stripping these conditioning, we can enjoy a more authentic sex life, in which emotional well-being and mutual satisfaction are the fundamental pillars. It is important to remember that sexuality is an integral aspect of our identity, not something that is separated from our general well-being. Just as we take care of our physical health, we must also pay attention to our emotional and psychological health. The open mentality, the willingness to explore, and clear communication with our partner are essential to create a space in which both feel safe and comfortable. The practice of self-pity and self-acceptance allows us to be freer and more open in our privacy without the fear of being judged or not fulfilling the expectations of others. Life is full of moments of discovery and growth, and our sexuality is no exception. Byh. We can find new ways to connect with ourselves and with our partners, based on experience, empathy, and shared desire. Each stage of life offers an opportunity to redefine what it means to be intimate, not only from the physical but also emotional and mental point of view. The ability to enjoy sexual life does not decrease with age. Rather, it is transformed, acquiring a depth and wealth that we had not experienced before. This understanding allows us to live with greater freedom, hugging pleasure without the restrictions of the myths and limiting beliefs that have prevailed for so long. Throughout the years, our relationship with pleasure, love, and intimacy evolves, but what remains constant is the importance of living our sexuality authentically. The true beauty of sexual life is not to follow pre-established molds, but in the ability to explore our own needs, desires, and limits, and share them with a couple that also value that authenticity. This deep and genuine connection is what allows us to experience a sexual life that is full, rich, and truly satisfactory. Give the video a like if you liked it and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more videos about this content. Leave a comment so we can know your opinion, and we will take it into account for future videos.